What do you wish you knew before we went into lockdown? This was a question I posed to open source workplace contributors. These are folks that give their time, share their knowledge and expertise with the community. So I asked each of them that very question. The responses I got, I think everyone can relate to in one way or another. The responses range from foresight, wish we knew, wish we could predict what the lockdown meant, what COVID-19 would mean, the unknown factors relating to COVID-19. Who is positive? The testing, was it adequate? What works, what doesn't work? So many unknown factors. Then also human and social interaction. You know, these are things that we take for granted every single day, but actually whenever you get into a lockdown environment, you really realize the impact that it has to your personal life, but also doing business. You will hear how simply not being able to read a room really impacts an ability to communicate effectively and drive conversations that allow you to be successful in your business. Technology, how we look at technology, how we use technology. Who knew that we could actually be so adaptable, that we could be so agile, that actually we didn't have to use all the premium services of technology, but also how technology can also leverage and allow us to be interactive and be connected. You know, Zoom has taken off, everyone uses it, and Teams and other technologies, solutions that actually we're all utilizing today. But then, you know, there's also the other side of it. Well, what are the opportunities this is presented? How can the businesses pivot, right? How can they take advantage? And you're going to hear from Christina Herrera, who started her own business through this process. What are the things that she noticed and what are the things that's helped her? And you're also going to hear about why purpose is even more important today. Why a mindset, a positive mindset, micro goals, and developing yourself and keeping yourself positive until we get to a time where certainty and we feel more certain. And that's some of the key features that actually a lot of these influencers have identified. So yes, you're going to hear little snippets, and if you want to see the entire interviews, you know, go and check out Open Source Workplace interview series. And I want to say a big thank you to each of them. These are super busy, highly successful. They're either owners, leaders in a business, and they are driving change, and they're freely giving their time to share their knowledge for you and I. And I want to say a big personal thank you to each of them. What are the things that matter to you? What are the things that you miss? Right, this is an open platform. We want people and encourage people to actually share ideas. Let's learn, let's teach each other. The more knowledge and perspectives and viewpoints we hear, then actually the better our minds can be in creating a more informed viewpoint.
What would I have liked to have known? There's an element from a business perspective when it was coming, so maybe we could plan better. And from a personal perspective, even still, it'd be great to know when this is going to come to an end. And all of the audience here, I'm sure, will be able to relate to that as well.
I wish I knew how many subscriptions and memberships I had before lockdown. I found out that I had a subscription to an ice cream company, and I can't use the money that's sitting in that account because they're closed.
I was one of the people who got it early on, and I would have liked to have known how dreadful it was going to be before I actually got it, because I keep hearing these people who were very lucky and managed to get 3 days of a bit of a sniffle and then they're back in business. You know, for me it was nearly a 3-week period of you know, I've still got it a little bit, the coughing, just feeling exhausted, aching, shivering, sweating, and you know, progressively having your breathing getting a little bit worse. I was lucky mine didn't get so bad that I needed any medical help, but it was a kind of an unknown. I didn't even know where we were on our journey with it, and I didn't know, you know, how close to, you know, any real risk I was along the way. And the problem, I think, was certainly in the early stages is nobody really knew what they were in for.
I wish we knew about the difficulty in testing people. all of the assumptions we made assume that we have information about who has the disease, who has had the disease. It would have been very helpful to know that there were no tests, and that the tests were going to be very hard to get to and somewhat inaccurate.
The first thing that just popped into my head is my mother and father in Florida, and my mother is going through something medically, a little bit of an illness, and I was going down to see them, and I was spacing it out, always feeling I had more time to do it, and now I can't. So I would have wished I went down there more and been there more.
From a work perspective or a business perspective, running my own small to medium-sized company, it would have been brilliant to have foresight to know this was coming, exactly when it was coming, how long it was going to last, because that would certainly would have helped us, and of course many others, plan, pivot if necessary, and just ready for what's come at us. And inevitably anyone working in any arena, but particularly related to workplace, things have changed massively. So I guess an element of foresight would have been brilliant.
The one is without doubt the social interaction element. Yes, we're able to have Zoom calls, and yes, we're able to have dialogue with our colleagues and clients, etc. But there is a massive difference between having a human interaction. That's not only on a business level. That's also on a personal level. Just your friends, your family. I think that's the one thing that I didn't think would be such a major pressure. And I've certainly found that just the importance of human interaction.
One of the beautiful things about running your own small company is you are agile, and that's part of the fun, needing to pivot when you need to, reacting when you can. Fortunately, without massive overheads and the massive corporate machine that takes a while to change direction.
I don't consider myself a tech-savvy person. I think I use the basis of a lot of technology within the working function and obviously the social side of things. But the importance of tech in this period has certainly come to light. The fact that people can still interact to a degree, the fact that people can still continue their work is amazing. I think that I was speaking to someone the other day and said, when are we back to work? And they said, hang on, we are back, we are working. It's when are we back to the office is the question. When are we just back to the office? So I think that the tech element, I feel like a lot of people are adapting to that, as again, it's on the social side of things, whether that's interacting with your friends or even on the business side of things. A lot of clients now are making do with the various challenges and dealing with it, whether that's pitching on Zoom or whether, in our industry, you rely a lot on looking at buildings and inspecting buildings to understand defects, to get a feel for the location, the area, and the various amenities, etc. And a lot of landlords are now adopting virtual tours. So, yes, there's a slight impact, but I think the one thing with technology is that hopefully once things do return to normal, people will be able to do a lot of their due diligence required to make that necessary move or decision on their real estate.
I wish I knew how much you could accomplish with low tech. Going out on my own, I found that, I don't have all the programs that I used to have being employed. I don't have access to, the professional headsets and, Adobe Illustrator and InDesign and all of that. But without having to go in and purchase all that new technology and programs and, systems, I can still accomplish what I need to accomplish to a high standard. And there is a way to make this and make it very successful with low tech.
If I look at it from a business side of things, the one thing that which I struggle with at the moment, is just being able to, have a coffee with someone or have a face-to-face meeting where you can read the room, read the atmosphere, understand what your client is thinking. It's very difficult on a Zoom or on a Skype call to kind of understand, what they're thinking in their head and how you can kind of project your answers and your pitch to suit their requirement.
I spent a lot of time planning and preparing and looking forward to an ultra-endurance bike race. That bike race, having slogged my guts out, early morning winter rides before work, going out in the wind and the rain, that was due to take place in early June. And then, of course, we've gone through a period of, well, June's probably not going to happen, but when might it happen? And then just a couple of weeks ago, it was pushed until early September. And there's a part of me thinking, can I sustain this effort and this training through to September? And then, of course, as the weeks go on, are borders going to be opening? Are we going to be allowing free travel around countries and between countries by September? So, for someone like myself who loves to have a goal and plan and work towards that goal, it sort of sets you slightly at sea. You're not really quite sure where you are and what you can be doing. And for me, and just as in elite sports, which as you know is my background, performance is all about the process. And how do we go on that journey of preparation and best preparing ourselves? And then the result, to some extent, looks after itself. Now, if you don't know when it is that result might come, or when you need to try and deliver that result, that becomes quite difficult to remain motivated. So, I'm doing my best, and I'm sure many, many other people will be able to relate to this, particularly on a professional basis as well. Some of our goals and objectives have changed. So how do we maintain enthusiasm and motivation and drive to be able to do that? And staying fit and healthy and, having good well-being is a part of it. But inevitably, we're going to need to change some of our goal setting and certainly set ourselves some short-term goals. And I think, what's particularly empowering for people is having that sense of purpose. And I would urge anyone, certainly the organizations we're working with, it's incredibly important that organizations and their employees retain that real meaningful purpose and ensure they're setting themselves these short-term goals, whether it's on a monthly basis, a weekly basis, a daily basis, just to be able to maintain performance.
I didn't see this coming that we would wind up in lockdown, but the old saying, sometimes it's better to be lucky than smart. And I think that's my moniker here. So we did a live event in Florida that kind of snuck in right before the end of all this in Fort Lauderdale. And it was a really successful event. We did kind of everything that we wanted to get out in terms of panels and discussions with real industry leaders in the commercial real estate space. And then everything kind of ground to a halt. And one of my members of my team, Aaron Friedman, came to me with this platform and said, why don't we do a virtual event? And it kind of kicked us into gear to think about doing a virtual event that we did last week. And it was really very kind of prescient for us to be thinking about a virtual event. We kind of snuck in as the first one of the virtual events. Now you're going to see them all over the place. But again, just because of the luck of the Irish here, I don't think I would have done anything very much different. And it worked out well. So, this has been a kind of, we see everybody around us who are losing their jobs and they're laid off and things. And so in some ways, I feel very lucky that we were able to continue, keep our people working, and also bring the information that we're, that we see our charter to bring this information about connectivity to commercial real estate folks and to help the guys in the wireless and the tech space connect with them. And so that's really the long and the short of it. I wish I had one thing to tell you that I wish I had sold that stock or something like that, but it's really been sort of a tale of luck rather than smarts.
How can we support organizations in turn support their employees so they can be productive at home? And I still believe that we have, an incredible opportunity here to really evaluate what work is, how we approach it, and indeed how individuals, and to some extent their employers, look after their well-being. So building this energy, building this resilience that allows them to sustain performance under pressure.
What's clear as you listen to each influencer is the positive mindset, the positive spirit with which everything is said and given. Each have shown vulnerability in what they've said, each have shown positive spirit, and there are many lessons here that we can take. And the key lesson that I take away from the question and the responses given is that purpose and positive mindset. And the fact that we take so much for granted in our normal lives, that my hope, my expectation for myself is that I do not do that going forward. That the relationships that I have, I spend more time, I give more, and I also provide that resilient mindset that they've all talked about. So please do go listen to each individual interview that each of these influencers have given. Open Source Workplace, we will continue to bring interviews, opinions, education and knowledge to you through these influencers on a go-forward basis. But thank you for taking the time to watch. Hi, my name is Steve Todd. I'm the founder of Open Source Workplace. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video on YouTube. If you have watched this video and you've liked it and you want to hear more, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. That notification bell will alert you when a video is released. So please do like, do share, do tell people about Open Source Workplace. This is a community that is open. It's open sourced workplace. It's a free knowledge sharing community. So please do subscribe and do share and do spread the word. Thank you.